पहा 8 टप्प्यांमध्ये निवडणूक घेतली जाईल अशी सूत्रांची माहिती आहे। तर पंजाबमध्ये 3 टप्प्यांमध्ये मतदान पार पडेल। कोरोनाच्या तिसऱ्या लाटेचं संकट आहेच, मात्र त्यानंतर सुद्धा केंद्रीय निवडणूक आयोग कोणत्या तारखांची घोषणा करते याकडे सर्वांचंच लक्ष असेल। पंजाबमध्ये 3 टप्प्यांमध्ये मतदान प्रक्रिया पार पडणार आहे। आपण थेट माहिती घेऊयात आमचे प्रतिनिधी संदीप राजगोळकर यांच्याकडून। संदीप, काही वेळातच केंद्रीय निवडणूक आयोगाची पत्रकार परिषद सुरू होईल। ही दृश्य देखील आपण या ठिकाणी पाहतोय आणि 5 राज्यांच्या निवडणुकांचा कार्यक्रम जाहीर होणार आहे। काय माहिती मिळते या संदर्भात? आता थेट दृश्य आपण पाहतोय, केंद्रीय निवडणूक आयोगाचे जे अधिकारी आहेत, आयुक्त आहेत, ते सुद्धा आता इथे पोहोचलेले आहेत। ही थेट पत्रकार परिषदेची दृश्य आपण पाहतोय। केंद्रीय निवडणूक आयोगाची पत्रकार परिषद, 5 राज्यांच्या निवडणुकांचा कार्यक्रम आज जाहीर होणार आहे। या कोणत्या तारखा असतील तसंच किती टप्प्यांमध्ये या निवडणुका होतील याकडे आपल्या सगळ्यांचंच लक्ष आहे। संदीप, 5 राज्यांच्या निवडणुकांचा कार्यक्रम जाहीर होतोय।
नक्कीच निखिला, एकतर लिटमस टेस्ट म्हणून या सगळ्या निवडणुकांकडे पाहिलं जात आहे। सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं हेच आहे की उत्तर प्रदेशची निवडणूक भाजपसाठी अतिशय महत्त्वाची असणार आहे। 5 राज्यांमध्ये जी निवडणूक होणार आहे त्यापैकी एकाच राज्यात फक्त काँग्रेसची सत्ता आहे, ते म्हणजे पंजाब आहे। उरलेल्या 4ही राज्यांमध्ये भाजपची सत्ता आहे। या 2 गोष्टी या संपूर्ण निवडणुकीसाठी महत्त्वाच्या असणार आहेत। एक तर कोरोनाचं संकट आहे आपल्याला माहित आहे, त्यामुळे निवडणूक आयोग नेमकी काय घोषणा करतं याकडे तर संपूर्ण देशाचं लक्ष आहे। आणि दुसरं महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे जी शेतकरी जे कायदे केले होते ते मागे घेतल्यानंतरची ही निवडणूक होते। काही दिवसांपूर्वी आपल्याला माहित आहे पंजाबमध्ये पंतप्रधान मोदी गेल्यानंतर तिथं काय जे घडलं होतं हे संपूर्ण देशानं पाहिलेलं आहे। त्यामुळे ही निवडणूक सगळ्याच राजकीय पक्षांसाठी महत्त्वाची असणार आहे। नवी दिल्लीतल्या विज्ञान भवनामध्ये अधिकारी दाखल झालेले निवडणूक आयोगाचे आणि त्यांच्याकडून ही पत्रकार परिषद घेतली जाते। यापूर्वी जर पाहिलं तर नीती आयोगासोबत जी चर्चा आहे ती केलेली आहे, त्याचबरोबर केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालयासोबत देखील निवडणूक आयोगाने चर्चा केली।
थेट पत्रकार परिषदेत जाऊया।
First of all, I welcome you all to this press conference. As you are aware that the term of legislative assemblies of Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh are due to expire in this year on March 15th, March 19th, March 23rd and again March 23rd and May 14th respectively. A total of 690 assembly constituencies will go poll this time. These includes 40 assembly constituencies in Goa, 60 assembly constituencies in Manipur, 117 ACs in Punjab, 17 ACs in Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. The Constitution of India places upon ECI the solemn responsibility to conduct timely elections. It is the right of citizens to exercise their sovereign will and elect their representatives. For the past 2 years, the impact of COVID-19 has made conduct of elections extremely challenging. All those present here today and those listening to us have been part of this journey, full of trials and tribulations. It is our duty to see how to conduct elections in a manner that protects both the voters and the vote. As the country faces a surge of COVID cases and emergence of a new variant, Commission would like to explain in some detail the new protocols that have been put in place for conducting forthcoming elections in a free, fair, participative, accessible and safe manner. But before that, we would like to explain, we would like to tell you something about the basic preparations which we have done. We work with 3 broad objectives this time, and foremost is the COVID-safe election. Second is hassle-free, comfortable voting experience to the voters, and third, the maximum voter participation. Friends, for last 6 months, the entire election machinery was gearing up for these elections. Periodic reviews were done and senior officers of ECI held a detailed meetings to review all aspects of poll preparations. A lot of advanced planning and meticulous preparation has been done. In the month of December 2021, Commission visited the poll-bound states to review poll preparedness, and we also had a virtual meeting with the political parties of Manipur and their officers. We discussed with various political parties and elicited their views and suggestions. We also met the chief secretaries, DGPs, DOs, SPs, and various enforcement agencies in the states on various issues of preparedness. As the COVID cases showed a resurgence, especially in view of the new variant of concern, that is Omicron, Commission held meetings with Health Secretary, Government of India, and health experts as well, health secretaries of the states. We also had discussions with the Union Home Secretary on this issue. After taking all these views and the opinions and the ground situation, we decided to announce elections to the 5 states with safety norms in place. At the heart of election process lies the sanctity and absolute veracity of the electoral roll. Subsequent to the recently conducted special summary revision exercise, the final electoral roll has been published on 5th January 2022 with 1st January 2022 as a qualifying date and is available to all political parties. Commission laid emphasis on registration of new age voters, women, and persons with disabilities. A total number of 18.34 crore electors, including service voters, will take part in this election, out of which 8.55 crore are women electors. As a result of the hard work done by our officers in the field, we have some very encouraging figures to share with you. And there was a lot of emphasis on increasing the gender ratio. That is, the women's participation in electoral process. And I'm happy to say that it has been increased in all the 5 states. And as compared to the last assembly elections, and with Uttar Pradesh witnessing the maximum increase of 29 points, followed by Goa 24 points, Manipur 19 points, Uttarakhand 18 points, and Punjab 10 points. With this result, the gender ratio of various states is as under: Goa 1056, Manipur 1065, Punjab 902, Uttarakhand 928, and UP is 868. As many as 24.9 lakh first-time electors, that is between the age of 18-19, have got registered in the 5 states. And out of these, first-time women electors are 11.4 lakhs. In the 5 foregoing states, a total of 13.01 lakh PWD voters and 31.47 lakh senior citizens 80 plus age have been mapped. Their participation has been increasing, and their presence at the polling stations serves to inspire the younger generation. Service electors, the personnel and security forces deployed in India's far-flung borders, and mission staff, 5.29 lakh service voters will vote in coming elections. After the electors, I would like to tell you about the polling stations. Another area of focus for the Commission has been the facilities available at the polling stations. We had instructed all COs and all DOs to visit all major polling stations to see and to ensure that all assured minimum facilities are available on all the polling stations. And like AMF, like drinking water, waiting area, electricity, ramps, toilets has been made available at all polling stations. All polling stations shall be necessarily located at ground floor for the accessibility point of view. They will be equipped with all COVID mitigation facilities like sanitizers, thermal scanners, masks, gloves, so that they are absolutely safe to our voters. And in view of the pandemic situation, the maximum number of electors at a polling station has been reduced from 1,500 to 1,250. With this particular reduction in the number of voters at a station, we have to increase our polling stations to 30,330 more, and now the total number of polling stations is 2,15,368. So the number of polling stations have been increased by 16% than the earlier assembly elections of 2017. Another significant indicator of the pressure on polling booths is the average number of voters per polling booth. By reduction of these numbers, our numbers of range from 672 in Goa, 688 in Manipur, 699 in Uttarakhand, 862 in Punjab, and 862 in UP. So these are comparable to the best in the world. On an average, these are the numbers for per person for per polling stations. So all stations are less than 1,000, and you see 688, 699, which is very comfortable, and we can give a very good polling stations experience to the voters. As a part of our firm commitment towards greater constructive participation of women in the electoral process, Commission has mandated that at least one polling station managed exclusively by women shall be set up in every assembly constituency. Our officers have identified even much more than that. There are 690 assembly constituency, but we are setting up a total of 1,620 such polling stations that will be totally manned by women staff and the women security personnel as well. This will definitely empower the women, will set an example for others. The women can come freely to cast their votes without any hesitation and without any problem. Similarly, some polling stations will be exclusively managed by persons with disabilities. That will also give a sense of confidence to the persons and an inspiration to others. We have made special arrangements for PWDs. Commission is truly committed to ensuring a comfortable polling environment to persons with disabilities. They shall be given priority for entering polling booths, provision made for designated parking spaces close to the entrance of polling stations. Volunteers shall be available to facilitate PWDs. Wheelchairs will be arranged. All polling stations will be having a gentle ramps so that there should be no problem to our persons with the disabilities. We have made arrangement for the postal ballot facility for absentee voters, and 3 types of absentee voters have been identified, that is the senior citizens with the age above 80 plus, the PWDs with the benchmark disability, and those who are COVID affected. A polling team consisting of 2 polling officials along with a videographer and security will then go to electors' house along with the voting compartment and get the electors to vote on the postal ballot. That is just like ECI at the doorstep of the voter. Candidates will be provided a list of such electors along with route chart and a schedule so that they may send their representative accordingly. Therefore, there is absolutely transparency as far as this absentee voter is concerned. We have also given a facility of online nomination to the candidates. This is an optional facility, and we would like the candidates should use this facility so that the physical contact can be reduced and online facility can be fully utilized by the candidates who are coming for contesting the poll. And friends, another important issue is the candidates with the criminal cases. Each and every voter has a right of the candidate. Among other measures to ensure ethical elections, emphasis is also given on mandatory publicity of criminal antecedents. Candidates with criminal antecedents are required to publish information in this regard in newspaper and through television channels on 3 occasions during the campaign period. Besides this, it is also mandatory for political parties to upload on their website at the home page detailed information regarding individuals with pending criminal cases who have been selected as candidates, along with the reasons. The political party will have to give the reasons as to why this particular candidate has been selected and no candidate without any criminal antecedent was selected, and benevolity is not the criteria for the same. And the details will be published within 48 hours of the selection of the candidate and not prior to 2 weeks before the first date of filing of nomination as was done earlier. The details of such candidates will also be available on Know Your Candidate, that is an app developed by the ECI. Measures for ensuring peaceful and transparent polls. All critical events will be videographed. To closely monitor the proceedings on the poll day without violating the secrecy of the voting process, the Commission has directed that arrangements for webcasting shall be done in critical polling stations and all polling stations in vulnerable areas, or at least in 50% of total polling stations, including auxiliary polling stations, whichever is higher. We have seen the preparations of the officers in this regard. The officers have been guided that absolutely on objective criteria, the critical stations and the vulnerable areas should be selected. And I'm happy to say that at least more than 1 lakh polling stations across the 5 poll-bound states, which is roughly 60% of all polling stations, are covered by webcasting. To ensure further transparency, the officers of the civil services drawn from IAS, IPS and IRS and other account services shall be deployed as central observers in the coming elections. Nearly 900 observers, general observers, police observers and expenditures observers will keep a watch on every aspect of elections in the field. The special observers will also be deployed if necessary. Another important issue is the expenditure monitoring. As you are all aware that only 2 days before we have increased the limit of candidates for the ensuing elections as far as the expenditure is concerned, from 28 lakh to 40 lakh. As per revised limits pertinent to these 5 elections, the limit on candidate expenditure for the state of Punjab, Uttarakhand and UP will now be rupees 40 lakh, and for Goa and Manipur it shall be rupees 28 lakhs. And this is also has been increased in view of keeping the digital modes of communication and the campaigns. The Commission has zero tolerance towards abuse of money power and misuse of the government machinery, as some of the political parties have mentioned to us. Officials have been instructed to monitor expenditure-sensitive constituencies and ensure comprehensive and coordinated actions. Conducting inducement-free and ethical election is of a prime importance for the Election Commission of India. Commission, wherever had gone to all the 5 states, held meetings with all enforcement agencies, whether it is from income tax, the DRI, the excise department, the railways, the airport authorities. All enforcement agencies were met. We met all the enforcement agencies. We saw their positions. We directed them that no illegal money, no illegal, this alcohol or any freebies or drugs can be distributed. They will have to, increase their efforts in this regard. We had monitored the seizures which were made by them so far. We have asked them to expedite the seizures. We have asked them to block the flow of liquor into their states which are poll bound. So a comprehensive plan has been prepared by them also. And again, when we were to go, we will have to examine it. We have to see that we are absolutely for inducement-free elections in all the 5 states. Voter EVMs in all the polling stations, the EVM and VVPAT will be utilized, and Commission has already made arrangements to ensure availability of an adequate number of EVMs and VVPAT for the smooth conduct of elections. I'll also mention about the important IT tools which are important for the election purposes. And the first is the Suvidha app, which has been developed for all political parties, and they can fix their campaign areas. They can ask for the grounds through that app. They need not to require to go to any place, to the DO's office, or there is an app on which they can directly apply. And the PWD app is also there for the person with disabilities, and definitely they can ask for the wheelchair, the free transport facility, and other whichever facility they require, so that they can facilitate their movement to the polling stations. An important app is the C-Vigil application. We would like, for any election purpose, it is Jan Bhagidari, the pupil participation, which is important for any good election. Therefore, the C-Vigil app should be used by all persons, general public, the voters, and that particular app can be downloaded, and any incident of violation of MCC, distribution of freebies, distribution of money, can be uploaded on that. You just take a picture, click it, send it. And within 100 minutes, the Election Commission of India's officer will definitely reach to that place, because automatically latitude and longitude are available with us on that particular thing. So C-Vigilance is a tool which empowers the public to clean the system. And we request and we earnestly request the persons that they should use this C-Vigil app. And it has been used also by some of the states where very good results had come to us. And by this methodology, even the candidates, the political parties and ECI will have a complete control that where is the previous distribution or the defacement of the property of anything like that, or a violation of MCC, that will come immediately to our notice and action will be taken accordingly. The model of conduct of court, the MCC comes into effect immediately from the announcement of schedule. Commission had made elaborate arrangement for ensuring the effective implementation of MCC guidelines, and any violation of these guidelines would be strictly dealt with. I also like to mention about the sweep activities. Friends, sweep initiatives, that is the systematic voters education program which we have, is a very important program through which we reach to the voters, and we want voters to be aware about their rights. The voters should be aware about the polling booth safeties. The voter should be should know how to how to go to the polling stations, how to cast their vote, how to use EVM. So this is the basic thing, and how to increase the participation of the voters. That is a very big thing before us. So through our sweep activities, we will make outreach programs to our voters to make them aware about the safety standards at the polling booth, so that they can be assured that the polling booths are absolutely safe. We will tell them about the assured minimum facilities which are available on the booth. And similarly, a voter's guide, a small voter guide, will also be provided to the voters along with the EPIC card. And the first-time voters will also be given a letter giving in a voting and the various features as to how the elections are to be conducted, to make them empowered actually. Until and unless you make the voters empowered, until and unless they realize their duties, and unless they are absolutely informed, the election process will not be clean. So it is our endeavor through the sweep activities or otherwise that outreach program should be absolutely vibrant and we can reach to the voter. And one more important area for the voter participation, that we have identified all the polling booths where the voters' participation was less in comparison to the earlier years or otherwise also. That the national average or the state average is suppose 80%, and then we have identified the polling stations where it was much less. So the targeted intervention will be made by the sweep activities, by the BLOs, and to find out that why that particular percentage was less. For a strengthening of the democracy, it is essential that all persons should participate. The 60% or less or 50% participation is not sufficient. And the Election Commission of India is trying its level best to make a targeted intervention to motivate the persons that they should come out to the polling in large number of the cases. Now I come to COVID protocols and COVID safe elections, I think, for which many persons are waiting, and a lot of queries are coming even before announcement of the polls. I will start that there were a lot of queries on this issue, that what will happen, what is going to happen. But I would like to start with a very, couplet. यकीन हो तो कोई रास्ता निकलता है, हवा की ओट भी लेकर चिराग जलता है. So therefore, यकीन होना चाहिए. We should have a yaqeen, we should have a faith, we should have a absolutely belief that we can pass through this particular pandemic also through our safety measures, through our proper following of the COVID appropriate behavior. Only then we can sail through effectively, safely into this election process, as has been done in earlier past elections also. The decision to go ahead with scheduled elections was taken after much deliberation, discussions, and careful analysis of the ever dynamic situation. The situation is very dynamic. It is not static. Nobody can predict. Nobody could have predicted earlier also, a month before. So the situation is very, very dynamic. Let me go back to the Constitution of India on this issue. Article 172(1) states clearly that every legislative assembly of every state, unless sooner dissolved, shall continue for 5 years, and no longer. So the period of any constituency is only up to 5 years and no longer. Any postponement of the assembly may result in a situation which denies people of that state the right to elect an accountable government of their choice. The government will have to be of their choice. It is a democratic process. Democracy forms part of the basic structure of the Constitution, and holding of timely election is the essence of maintaining democratic governance, and this task has been given to the Election Commission of India to hold timely elections. Commission has directed that all central state government officials deployed for election duty shall be doubly vaccinated. So all the officials who will be on the election duty will be doubly vaccinated. On the recommendation of the ECI, the Union Health Ministry has issued orders on 8 February 2021 that all election officials and employees will be treated as a frontline workers, and all eligible officials shall be given a precautionary booster dose accordingly. So these persons will also be given a booster dose, the precautionary dose also. With this, my all polling officials who are on the poll duty will be fully safe. So I have spoken that my booths are safe because my booths are fully sanitized, and all provisions of the gloves, sanitizer and everything is there. And here are the polling officials who are the safe. We have directed on our visits also, and otherwise also, we have directed the chief secretaries of all polling going states to accelerate the first and second dose of vaccination to all eligible citizens above 18 years. Wherever we have gone, in all the polling stations, we have reviewed the situation of the vaccination. And as you people have also reported, you have also informed that we have asked the chief secretaries to expedite this first dose as well as second dose to my electors of this country. And let me share with you the vaccination program, and they have accelerated the vaccination of the persons of various states. Let me share some vaccination figures with you. Data is on January 7th, 2022. In Goa, more than 95.8% people have been vaccinated with both the doses. So almost all population of Goa has got double vaccination. And in Uttarakhand, people have got 99.6% people have got their first dose and 83% have got the second dose. So in Uttarakhand also, the large number of population is vaccinated. In Uttar Pradesh, which was lacking earlier, but after our interventions and after our discussions over there, 90% population had been administered first dose, and more than 52% had taken both the doses. In Punjab, 82% had been given the first dose of vaccination, and 46% covered by both the doses. In Manipur, 57% had been jabbed with the first dose, while 43% had been administered both the doses. In absolute figures, as on January 7, 2022, more than 15 crore people in these 5 states together have got the first dose of vaccine, and more than 9 crore people had been administered both the doses. So this was regarding the safety of electors. There are 3 components of the elections: polling booth, polling officials, and the electors. So the Commission has taken steps that all these 3 should be the safe area. As far as the electors are concerned, most of the persons have got the vaccination, as I have just mentioned to you. The polling officials are doubly vaccinated with the booster dose also. Polling stations are safe, as I mentioned to you, that all sanitizations have been done. And before polling also, all polling booths will be fully sanitized. We have also seen the positivity rate of these states before taking decisions. I'll tell you that the weekly positivity rate in UP was only 0.24%. In Uttarakhand, it was 1.01%. In Punjab, it was 2%. Hello?
Slowly. Figures.
Figure. In UP, the positivity rate was 0.24%. In Uttarakhand, the positivity rate was 1.01%. In Punjab, it was 2.1%. In Manipur, it was 1.1%. And Goa, it was something around 13% because of the newer party by the outsider in that state. So these are the positivity weekly rates which we have seen and perused by all of us. And we have taken the opinion of medical experts, the union health secretary, and other secretaries as I discussed with you. We have appointed health nodal officers at the district, state, and assembly constituency level, and in all polling states. And in view of COVID concerns, polling time has been increased by 1 hour in all 5 states, and the time will be notified when the notification will be issued of those particular states. In view of emphasis on non-contact based campaign during pandemic conditions, Commission has decided to double the free equitable time allotted to the recognized political parties on Doordarshan and AER during these elections. It is expected that all stakeholders, namely political parties, candidates, campaigners, voters, and authorities engaged in the election process shall be conscious of their prime duty towards public health, safety, and therefore shall abide by the general instructions and other norms of COVID-appropriate behavior as mandated by the respective authorities prescribed. Further, political parties and candidates are advised to conduct their campaign as much as possible through digital, virtual media platforms, mobile-based mode instead of physical mode, ensuring strict compliance of COVID safety norms. And keeping it in mind, the expenditure limit of the candidates have already been increased from 28 to 40 lakh. A detailed guidelines are being issued and which will be given to all of you regarding the COVID guidelines 2022 as to how the political parties, how the election officials, how the EVM persons will be dealt with and will be dealing with the COVID appropriate behavior. But the main point I would like to share with you, the Commission has decided that no roadshow, padyatra, cycle, bike vehicle rally and procession shall be allowed till 15th January 2022. Commission shall subsequently review the situation and issue further instructions accordingly. So up to 15th of January, because the situation is dynamic, it is not static. No road show, no padyatra, no cycle, bike or vehicle rally and any procession. Similarly, no physical rally of political parties or probable candidates or any other group related to election shall be allowed till 15th January. Commission shall subsequently review the situation considering the situation of the pandemic and issue further instructions accordingly. So up to 15th of January, there is absolutely a moratorium of physical rally and physical road shows. Between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., no rallies and public meetings. Similarly, like a campaign curfew that on any campaign day. That will continue. No nukkad sabhas will be allowed on public roads, roundabouts or public streets or corners. Fifth, no victory procession after the counting shall be allowed and not more than 2 persons shall be allowed to accompany the winning candidate or his or authorized representative to receive the certificate of election from returning officers. So we are reducing the physical contact, physical availability, and we are saying that more and more virtual and virtual rallies, virtual campaign should be done. However, physical rallies during the campaign period, if after considering the situation, which is very dynamic, and when permitted, after the decision of the Commission, shall be conducted subject to adherence to COVID-19 guidelines. The maximum limit of persons allowed for indoor and outdoor rally meetings shall be as per existing directions of SDMAs. For these meetings, political parties shall distribute masks and sanitizers to persons attending and maintain COVID protocol at entry and exit point. Further rallies and meetings shall be allowed only in earmarked places and with prior permission of district administration. Door-to-door campaign, a maximum of 5 persons including candidates, excluding security personnel if any, shall be allowed to do door-to-door campaign. Each political party candidate shall have to furnish an undertaking in the application form under Suvidha that it shall abide by all the extant instructions, guidelines in this regard. So an undertaking will also be taken whenever any rally will be allowed. Later on, when we review the situation after 15th or something like that, only then again also these undertakings, COVID guidelines have to be strictly followed with each and every person who is involved in the campaign. Let me
Let
finish it.
him
After
please
that,
finish. We'll take up your questions thereafter.
Non-compliance of instruction. Anybody violating the instructions on COVID measures will be liable to proceed against as per the provisions of the Disaster Management Act, besides legal action under IPC and other legal provisions as applicable. And the prime responsibility will be resting with the CS and DO as mandated under the DM Act. And our guidelines specifically restate this legal position, and the guidelines will be given to each and every one of you. It is reiterated that in case of breach and disregard to the above guidelines, the Commission will not hesitate in cancelling the rallies or not allowing any further rallies by that party. So the COVID protocol is absolutely quite restrictive and quite strong basically that way, so that we can see that no physical rally will be done up to 15th of January. Media, I would like to come to the media now. Media has always been a friend of ECI and has well played a very significant and positive role in elections. And this time also, we implore them to help us reach out to all stakeholders regarding safety norms and higher voter participation. It is you only who communicate our message to the public. It is you only who motivates them to cast a vote. It is through you only that we send our messages to them. So you are our friend, and you are the person who can help us in achieving our goals. Social media has also become an important component of life, and Commission has been engaging with social media platforms since 2019. And the voluntary code of ethics had come into play, which will also be applicable. Commission has been engaging and requesting all political parties and candidates to ensure that their supporters do not indulge in hate speeches and fake news. A strict watch on social media posts is being kept to ensure election atmosphere is not vitiated in any manner. Any person or organization indulging in such malicious activity will face harsh consequences. Now I will come to the schedule of elections, I think which you are waiting, and that is something which is very important and the very most important thing. During this time, we have also seen and perused that how the elections were conducted in 2017, how they were conducted in 2012. In 2012, this was done, all the 5 states were done in 9 phases. In 2017, it was done in 8 phases. And now we are reducing it by 1 more phase, and all elections of 5 states will be conducted in 7 phases. I will give you the, I will read it and I will give.
Total 7.
Total 7. All the 5 states combined together will be completed in 7 phases. I will give you a detailed chart, then you can understand more. Should I start? Because for this you are waiting. That will not be complete without, starting this thing. And the first date of the issue of notification will be 14th January 2022, and which will start from Uttar Pradesh. This is the first phase of Uttar Pradesh. The issue of notification is 14th January. Last date of nominations 21st January. Scrutiny of nominations 24th January. Last date of withdrawal of candidature 27th January. And date of poll 10th February 2022. This is the first phase. Now let us come to the second phase, which is a very important phase. In second phase, we will be covering 4 states. Uttar Pradesh second phase, Punjab in 1 phase, Uttarakhand in 1 phase, Goa in 1 phase. So Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa. In second phase, Punjab, Uttarakhand, Goa will be over. And here the issue of notification will be 21st January. Last date of nominations 28th January. Scrutiny of nominations 29th January. and last date of withdrawal of candidature 31st January, and date of poll 14th February, that is Monday. Third phase, only Uttar Pradesh, that is issue of notification 25th January, last date of nominations 1st February, scrutiny of nominations 2nd February, last date of withdrawal of candidature 4th February, and date of poll 20th February, that is Sunday. Uttar Pradesh fourth phase, issue of notification 27th January, last date of nominations 3rd February, scrutiny of nominations 4th February, last date of withdrawal of candidature 7th February, and date of poll 23rd February. Uttar Pradesh fifth phase and first phase of Manipur. Manipur will be done in two phases. So on fifth phase, we will be having Uttar Pradesh fifth phase and Manipur first phase. Here the issue of notification is 1st February, last date of notification, last nomination 8th February, scrutiny of nominations 9th February, last date of withdrawal of candidature 11th February, and date of poll will be 27th February 2022. Uttar Pradesh sixth phase and Manipur second phase. Here the issue of notification will be 4th February 2022. Last date of nominations 11th February 2022. Scrutiny of nominations 14th February 2022. Last date of withdrawal of candidature 16th February, and date of poll 3rd March, that is Thursday. That way Manipur also completed the sixth phase. Uttar Pradesh seventh phase. Issue of notifications 10th February, last date of nominations 17th February, scrutiny of nominations 18th February, last date of withdrawal of candidature is 21st February, and date of poll is 7th March. So on 7th March, all polling will be over, and the date of counting is 10th March 2022, that is Thursday. Last time 2017, the election was announced on 4th of January, and the counting was on 11th, and here we are announcing on 8th. So we are squeezing the time as also, and the faces also. And that particular schedule will also be given to you, and how the phases of UP have been put in 7 phases will also be provided to you by the media cell here. And we have ensured that in all 7 phases of UP, there should be equitable to be distribution of the assemblies, and that particular map will be given to you by our media cell. Now we call upon all voters in these 5 states to come out and vote as enthusiastically as they have always done in the past, especially the senior citizens, persons with disability, and women. Your presence at the polling stations, despite many odds and personal circumstances, is nothing short of being truly inspirational. Our fervent appeal to all stakeholders to maintain COVID-appropriate behavior at all times. I'm really thankful to my voters who have casted their vote in the earlier elections, during pandemic also, and basically in Bihar, in Assam, in Tamil Nadu, in West Bengal, and in many places, Puducherry, Kerala, in many places the voter turnout of female was much more than the men. And I'm so grateful to all of them that in spite of their the personal inconveniences, they have come and cast their vote. That is the spirit of the voter. That we want that should remain always in their mind. And this is a festival of democracy. They should come out, as I have already enumerated in my earlier paras, that the voters' safety is there, the polling booth is safe, and the polling officials are safe. Therefore, I request to all the voters to come forward and cast their votes. Similarly, I will request to all political parties and entities to mentor their party workers to adhere to COVID safety guidelines, especially during the period of campaign. Let us all remember that the safety of each one of us is our collective responsibility. It is our collective responsibility, and together we can make this happen. Wishing you all the best. Thank you very much.
We'll take the questions. I'll repeat. Please begin with the name of your own name and your media organization name. We'll begin here. I'll come back to you, please. अपना नाम और मीडिया का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नाम भी बताएं।
सर हेलो सर, नमस्कार। मोहित दुबे, न्यूज नेशन से सर मैं हूँ। सर, इतिहास में ऐसा पहली बार हुआ है जब से हिंदुस्तान में लोकतंत्र शुरू हुआ है कि पहली बार रैलियों पर बैन किया गया है। वर्चुअल रैलियां होंगी, नुक्कड़ सभाओं को भी आपने बैन लगा दिया है। तमाम जो सियासी दल हैं उल्लंघन करते हुए कहीं ना कहीं पिछली बार भी नजर आए थे। इस बार अगर वो उल्लंघन करते हैं तो क्या अगर कोई कैंडिडेट है तो उसकी आप उसको रद्द कर देंगे, उसकी कैंडिडेचर को, या क्या उनके ऊपर जुर्माना लगाने का भी प्रावधान है, और मॉनिटर कैसे करेंगे आप लोग?
देखिए, ये मॉनिटरिंग का काम जो है बेसिकली जो मैंने अभी कोविड गाइडलाइंस में बताया कि वहाँ का जो डीओ है, डीएम एंड सीएस, हु आर द अथॉरिटीज अंडर एसडीएमए आल्सो, दे विल हैव टू टेक ए कॉल. Our persons, our CEO, our observers will be there to ensure that this thing should be absolutely followed. And if anybody does it, we will cancel his rally. We will not allow him to have more rallies into this particular area. So if we do not allow, initially we have already, banned up to 15th, as I am telling you. We will further review because situation is very dynamic. I don't know how the situation will emerge, whether it is accelerating or it is decelerating. It is quite possible after some time it may, come down quite drastically, or it may come up drastically. So we will increase the situation, we will see the situation, we will definitely monitor, and the prime responsibility, as I have already spoken to you, that it will rest with the DM and the Chief Secretary, and we will take action against them also. And our persons are already there, expenditure of all observers, general observers, they are there only to see this. And we will ensure that it should happen. Because we are trying first time if something is being done, आगे बढ़िए तो सही, देखते हैं कि आगे आगे होता है क्या।
बीच के ब्लॉक से हम शुरू करें।
इसी से जुड़ा सवाल है सर, चुनाव के बाद कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होती है।
अपना नाम?
मेरा नाम मुर्शिद करीम है, मैं वंदे मातरम से हूँ। उसी से रिलेटेड सवाल है, आचार संहिता उल्लंघन होने के बाद चुनाव आयोग कार्रवाई नहीं करते, वहां के डीएम वगैरह करते जैसे आपने कहा, लेकिन चुनाव के बाद उन नेताओं पे कार्रवाई पूरी तरह से नहीं होते हैं, वो बच के निकल जाते हैं, आखिर क्यों?
देखिए, ऐसा है, इस बार हम जहां भी गए, चारों स्टेट में हम लोग गए, और हम लोगों ने इसी की समीक्षा की कि 2017 में जो भी पोल ऑफेंसेस में FIR फाइल हुई थी उनका क्या हुआ. And whenever we have sent our DECs also to monitor it, and in some of the states we found that they have been taken to logical conclusions. Some fines have been given, somewhere the imprisonment have been given to those candidates also. So we have taken this stock and we will ensure this. Now earlier it is quite possible that some monitoring might not have been done, but we will monitor this aspect. And the purpose was only to monitor during our visits to all the states was this only, that we should make them aware that the electoral offences will have to be taken to logical conclusions. They cannot remain pending.
So this is Shahid Abbas from Informist Media. This side on.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
One by one.
Hello.
Shahid Abbas from.
Hello.
Sir, this side on your straight. On your straight.
Hello.
Yes.
I am Shahid Abbas from Informist Media. I want to ask that it is the duty of the poll panel to ensure level playing field for all stakeholders. Now, since the Model Code of Conduct comes into effect with immediate announcement of the schedule, sir, the union budget will be presented on 1st of February as per established practice. The President of India will address the joint session of Parliament before that, and also
तर 5 राज्यांच्या निवडणुका आज जाहीर झालेल्या आहेत आणि यामध्ये केंद्रीय निवडणूक आयोगाने या तारखा जाहीर केलेल्या आहेत. यूपी मध्ये 7 टप्प्यांमध्ये एकूण निवडणूक होणार आहे आणि त्यामध्ये 10, 14, 20, 23, 27 फेब्रुवारी आणि 3 आणि 7 मार्च पर्यंत मतदान पार पडणार आहे 5 राज्यांचा. आणि त्यानंतर एकत्रित निकाल जो आहे तो 10 मार्चला लागणार आहे. मतमोजणी ही 10 मार्चला होणार आहे. गोव्यामध्ये एका टप्प्यामध्ये निवडणूक होणार असून 14 फेब्रुवारीला मतदान होईल आणि 10 मार्चला याचा निकाल लागेल. तर पंजाबमध्ये एका टप्प्यामध्ये निवडणूक होणार आहे. 14 फेब्रुवारीला मतदान होईल आणि 10 मार्चला निकाल लागणार आहे. मणिपूरमध्ये सुद्धा एका टप्प्यामध्ये निवडणूक होणार असून 14 फेब्रुवारीला मणिपूरमध्ये मतदान होईल आणि 10 मार्चला मतमोजणी होणार आहे. उत्तराखंडमध्ये सुद्धा एका टप्प्यात निवडणूक होईल. 14 फेब्रुवारीला इथे देखील मतदान होणार आहे आणि 10 मार्चला मतमोजणी होईल. उत्तर प्रदेशमध्ये 7 टप्प्यांमध्ये निवडणूक होणार आहे. सगळ्यात मोठं राज्य आहे आणि त्यामुळे उत्तर प्रदेशमध्ये 7 टप्प्यांमध्ये निवडणूक होईल. त्यामध्ये 10, 14, 20, 23, 27 फेब्रुवारी आणि 3 आणि 7 मार्च म्हणजे शेवटचं मतदान जे आहे ते 7 मार्चला पूर्ण होणार आहे. 7 टप्प्यांमध्ये इथे निवडणूक होईल आणि 10 मार्चला इथे देखील मतमोजणी होणार आहे. पाच राज्यांचा निवडणूक कार्यक्रम आज जाहीर करण्यात आलेला आहे. यामध्ये मणिपूरमध्ये 2 टप्प्यांमध्ये निवडणूक होणार असून 27 फेब्रुवारी आणि 3 मार्चला इथे मतदान होईल आणि 10 मार्चला इथे देखील मतमोजणी होणार आहे.